What is he?
Oh no, it's Ragiroth Enterprises!
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the springer. I love to sing about a sky of blue or a key or a Q, anything with the...
Time has come, and so have I. How's it going, everybody? Rich from Ragiroth Enterprises here. So, this E3, I learned a very important lesson. Just because I'm not interested in Microsoft, still watch the conference, because there could still be some nice surprises that are for other systems that could be announced as well. And one of the surprises there for me this year was Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry is one of my favorite series ever, and there was a lot of leaks and rumors saying that Devil May Cry 5 was coming soon. It was, I mean, though granted, it's one of those games we always heard rumors for, but it was actually announced this time. And I think some of the rumors about it even wound up being true, not even it just being a thing. And I kind of caught the tail end of it, and then I watched the kind of trailer separately from the Microsoft live stream. And I guess, well, first I wanted to tell you my thoughts about it, and then I guess some potential theories, mainly with the whole third character hooded person thing. Well, when I first saw it, I liked it. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. That was cool. But I wasn't blown away. I think here's the reason why. Well, alright, first let me say, I actually, and I know I might get some hate for this, I actually liked the reboot. I really didn't mind it. I just saw it as a different interpretation of Devil May Cry. I thought it was still a fun game, and I didn't really mind the new versions of Dante and Virgil. Now, do I prefer the old timeline and the old versions of Dante, Virgil, and them? Yes, by a lot, I prefer them. But I feel like with Capcom, they kind of with Nero and stuff, and just the aesthetics of the game, it doesn't look like DMC, but it doesn't look totally like Devil May Cry either. It's some weird middle ground, and I guess that's kind of their compromise, because Capcom is sort of guilty of westernizing their franchises sometimes, and yeah, sometimes it's a good thing, but Devil May Cry is kind of not the best ones to do it with. However, I think this was kind of their compromise, so they still kind of appeal to a more Western audience without totally alienating their original fans. Because Nero looks cool, and I am glad Nero's back. I think his design, if when you first look at it, you think wait, this looks like reboot Dante, and it's I don't think it was a good idea of Capcom. So alright, if you want to change design like that, sure, but that being the first thing you show off for the game, that was, I don't know if that was the best call in all honesty. I think you should have just shown Dante and him kind of just looking like his good old self, and seeing his gameplay and stuff, and then show Nero. I think that would have been the wiser idea. And we did see Dante, and he looks cool. I'm unsure of what to think about older Dante. I think overall it looks cool. I think I prefer him more clean shaven and stuff, but it's neat that it shows he's actually kind of becoming older and maturing and all that. He still looks like a badass old man. he's like a badass Santa. So it's yeah, I'm Capcom, was that really the best call? But the more I watched the trailer multiple times, and the more I looked at him, okay, this looks more like Devil May Cry. It had to register for me first. I think, see, what also doesn't help is that it's interesting, because it's even though in DMC it was Dante, I think his attitude, and even more so the way he kind of swung Rebellion around, was more reminiscent of how Nero swings his sword, the Red Queen, around. So I think that probably didn't help. And I think the aesthetics, while they're not full-on DMC, they aren't quite as colorful and vibrant and stylish as Devil May Cry 4 and 3 and stuff. Though I guess Devil May Cry 3, is Devil May Cry 3 really that colorful? Is Devil May Cry 1 even that colorful? I don't know. I remember Devil May Cry 4 is very colorful and vibrant. But yeah, so I don't love the aesthetics, but I certainly don't hate it. The game still looks gorgeous. It uses the RE engine, what Resident Evil 7 uses. I think that's why it's called the RE engine. But and I love those graphics. Yeah, they're not my favorite aesthetics, but it's just graphically they just look awesome, and the game does look beautiful. Screenshots look freaking sexy as hell. And like, yeah, like I said, the more I watched, the more I got hyped. I'm like, I think I just had a. It's not a trailer you can just watch once, and it didn't help the first time I saw it. I actually didn't see the part with Dante. I'm like, where the hell is Dante at? Yeah, I mean, you know, Nero's still got his trademark weapons, the Red Queen and the Blue Rose. I am hoping, because I do really like Nero, but my main complaint with him wasn't really him. It was just that he only had like one devil arm and one gun. It's like, I wish they could at least give him like one more devil arm and like one more gun, and then I'd be good. I mean, I know it's like, that's, you know, tons of weapons are Dante's thing, but it's like, can't you work, you know, give a little bit more to Nero? A little bit more. And I do hope that, like, you know, this time there's kind of an even amount of gameplay between the three. Because that was, like, I love Devil May Cry 4, but that was kind of one issue I had with, I think, Nero's. You played as him a bit more, and it didn't help when you played as Dante. You were just kind of going through the same levels, just kind of reverse order, and with some different enemies and harder and all that. But, and like, yeah, like, aesthetically, I prefer Nero's Devil Bringer arm more. However, I don't mind the robotic arm. I've seen a lot of people complain about it. I don't mind it. It's like, you know, I mean, his arm got ripped off. I mean, so I think a robot arm is the next best thing. Like, yeah, it could have been a little more visually distinct, but it's still pretty cool, and I think it's a little more flexible in terms of what it could do. Like, they show off, like, he can get different abilities, but like, there's like I think like a time stop ability. He can like surf on it. I think it was like maybe a electric one or something like that. So that's pretty cool. And I guess that, like, if he doesn't get more weapons, that kind of is like a little bit of a trade-off. So yeah, I was overall really happy with the trailer. I love the music. Apparently, I guess that's gonna be Nero's battle theme called Devil Trigger. It'll be really ironic because I don't know because out of the Devil Triggers they've had in Devil May Cry, Nero's the one that, like, he changes the least. He just kind of gets like the blue Susanoo, Neo Angelo thing. But and I don't know if he's gonna have that, at least not for a while, without the Devil Bringer on. But anyway, so I think enough with that. Overall, I was pretty pleased. Like, maybe I was expecting to be a little more blown away, but I am happy. Like, Devil May Cry is like really back. It's one of my most anticipated games. I'm really looking more forward to it. I do think they should have shown off Dante gameplay. I mean, I guess maybe they're saving that for like Gamescom or something. But anyway, so now let's talk about well, I guess the hooded figure and I guess the third playable character. Now, I think most of us basically agree. The hooded figure that ripped off Nero's arm is Virgil. There's been people that have taken pictures, and you can actually briefly see the hooded person's face, and he even has a pale face and like certain lines going down his face, like Virgil has in his corrupt form in Devil May Cry 1 and as an alternate outfit in like multiple games, which I actually think is a really neat callback. I think it's cool they're still kind of sticking with that. But then here's the thing. So that we know that's probably Virgil, but there's apparently a third playable character. Now, is that Virgil? And we've seen all three characters on, like, I guess kind of the poster for the game, and like, it doesn't look like Virgil, but it's like, I feel like they made the third character look kind of mysterious on purpose. And apparently the third character's name is V. So I mean, you would think, you know, because Virgil kind of begins with V. And apparently they mentioned V can summon demonic helpers or something like that, which I don't really know how I think about that. I'm not really that big on summoning characters. But funnily enough, I mean, Virgil's, I guess, guns are called summoned swords. So it's like, still, I guess, a summon mechanic, just more, not just a single weapon blast, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure how to word that, to be honest, but I think you get what I mean. But, so, like, I don't know, it doesn't look like Virgil, but again, they could be messing with us, or they could be messing with us, and maybe they're trying to make us think it's Virgil, and it's really not. I know the rumors said that, like, Virgil is definitely in the game, and he's very powerful, and the third character, or they said they're unsure Virgil is playable. And they said the third character may or may not be someone new to the series, and they are also very powerful. So it's like, it could really be anyone's guesses. Maybe it's another person with Sparta's blood. It's like a half-son or something. It's another grandson. And the rumors do also say that Virgil is going to be Nero's dad. A very common theory that has been suggested by people. I saw, I think, a couple people mention this theory, and I actually really like this theory, and I kind of hope this is the case. But they say that it is Virgil. However, like, I mean, because a lot of people wonder, like, oh, how would Virgil come back to life? I mean, he kind of died in Devil May Cry 3. Well, okay, he didn't really die, but, well, no, he didn't really die, but in Devil May Cry 1, he comes back as Michelangelo, and then he dies. He, like, I think, from what I remember, he, like, kind of explodes or something. So I was like, how does he come back? Well, I mean, it's Devil May Cry. It's a supernatural game with all this crazy stuff happening. But I could maybe see however he comes back to life. He's not all put together right. And it is entirely possible that maybe it's like kind of an incomplete weakened Virgil. Hence, I guess, the name V. And maybe as the game goes on, he becomes Ver. Then he becomes Verge. And then at the very end of the game, he becomes fully complete again and becomes Virgil. But I'm sure that's just that would actually be funny though. But and because the thing is like Virgil has usually been playable, like he's either added in the special edition or he's like DLC or something. Even in like games where it's like it's not even just Devil May Cry, like Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3, he was DLC. Project Cross Zone 2 is the only game that wasn't DLC or special edition, but even then that was a sequel to the game. But the thing is, he's usually like, I don't know if I want to say as far as overpowered, but he is a beast. Like, he's a lot more accessible than Dante is, and I feel like you can blow through the game a lot faster with him. I think it's partially because he is like less moves and they kind of make him a bit more powerful. So I guess it's like, typically when you play as Virgil in a game, it's like, well, you already beat the game, so, just have fun. So, but it's like with this game, it's like, if that is Virgil, it's like, oh, well, your first playthrough, you're going to be playing as him for, I guess, a third of the game or whatever. So it's like, we don't want to make the game too easy, especially because Devil May Cry is known to be at least a little challenging. It's not like Dark Souls, but it's a little challenging. So like maybe this is kind of their way of bringing Virgil back without making it seem like too easy, too simple. And it's also a way to kind of make the difficulty just going through the game like, reasonable. Playing as a turned down Virgil would sort of suck. It's like, I don't know what that would be like, but I'm sure there's a way to make it work and still be fun. And maybe he'll have different abilities, like, obviously he would, because, with the summon demon thing, but it's like, I am kind of maybe leaning towards it maybe not being Virgil, unfortunately. Also another theory is, the reason he rips off Nero's arm is he could be controlled, and, that's another reason why people are saying, like, oh, if Virgil's ripping off Nero's arm and Nero wants revenge, it's like, why would he be the third playable character? Because I think most of us assume that all three of them will team up. All three of the playable characters will team up. And I think either, if the third playable character is Virgil, I would say either he's being mind controlled or brainwashed or something, or he's still corrupt or whatever, and he kind of realizes halfway through the game, he breaks out and he's like, oh crap, LOL, my bad, son. Or Nero kind of realizes, he prefers living without that arm. Because I thought Devil May Cry 4, he wasn't really that crazy about the arm. I could be wrong. Or Nero simply just realizes, like, hey, you know what, there's bigger problems. So, whatever, let's work together. You're pretty strong. Let's work together with the Grandpa Dante and kick some ass. Another possibility I have, because, if we're going to have Virgil playable and we'll hopefully not have to wait for him to be DLC, but he's not going to be a third playable character. It very well could be a Resident Evil 6 situation where Virgil is like the Ada of the game. It's like, you unlock his scenario from, beating the game the other three, beating the game once, and he kind of has like a more kind of background role in the story. Which, I would be fine with. I personally would rather them all work together. I guess they could all work together, but maybe want to be till the very end, and, Virgil wouldn't really unite with them till the very end. My only thing with this, I feel like, because I don't remember entirely, but I don't think Ada's story was quite as long as the other three in Resident Evil 6. It was still pretty long, I think, if I remember, but it wasn't quite as long. So it would kind of suck that Virgil would kind of have a shorter story. Because it's like in most Devil May Cry games, it's like, you kind of just go through, each playable character just goes through the same levels. But I mean, I guess in this, like, yeah, you know, and because it's like even in DMC, like, yeah, it was cool, kind of had his own levels, but it's like it was so much shorter than the main campaign. So it's like that's why it would ideally just be nice to just have use the third playable character. And it's like I'm just a little tired of him always being DLC or something. Like I know it's like it's kind of become a joke or meme at this point where it's like, you know, when Capcom is ready to do DLC, they literally just hit a button to call Dan Southworth, the guy that voices Virgil, and come in, you know, because we're doing DLC, we're adding Virgil. But it would just be nice if this was kind of like, you know, his big game to just kind of be, you know, in the front lines at the beginning and playable. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, either way, I'm sure the third playable character will be pretty cool, and you know, still got Nero and Dante. It would be a bit disappointing, but I think I would live. I mean, I'm sure he'd be playable at some point, or again, if the fourth scenario thing is true, or hell, maybe you would just play as Virgil and you would go through Nero and or Dante's levels, kind of like in Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Funnily enough, Virgil is actually technically playable in more levels than both Nero and Dante because he goes through both their levels. I'm really looking to see what weapons Dante is going to get, or maybe even Nero. And like aside from summoning demon helpers, I am curious to see how else the third character fights, regardless if it is our boy Virgil or not. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the game. I know this isn't a fighting game, and I know I usually talk about fighting games, but I mean, Devil May Cry is, I mean, it is a combo-heavy, over-the-top action game, so I mean, it's not too far off, and I feel like, you know, I mean, Devil May Cry is kind of a presence in fighting games now, so, you know, I'll probably talk about this from here and there. I mean, it's not gonna be a regular thing. I may do a top 10 list or something like that, but let me know what you guys think. Are you happy with what we've seen in this game so far? Are you disappointed? Are you just happy that Devil May Cry is back? Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you've seen my videos and you like what you see. And as I always say, another time, another place, keep being awesome.